that's a friable, so that's good. So this sea horizon may be just fine.
Which one did you work on?
See that last one, the very bottom?
Oh, it's very bottom. Let's see.
Because if it was massive, you wouldn't be able to do it.
No, it's not clay. So let's scratch the massive. I just wanted to show you the process that I go through. So scratch the massive. So I'm doing the moist consistence for the sea.
Or C, you can, yeah.
Yeah.
And you had friable. Oh, that's the second?
It's just, no, it's the same thing. So very friable to friable on the sea. On the AH2.
Dry, moist, moist.
All moist. It's friable. AH3. That's definitely a friable. It's a little harder. AH4. See what I'm doing here, guys? So that's another very friable, or friable to very, hold it, very friable to friable. You just take it, squeeze it gently, read the criteria.
And then your BM.
My BM, did I do that? Oh. What do you think it is if it's single grain?
Would be loose.
It's loose.
VM moist too, I imagine?
Everything's moist, yeah.
Which is different than wet.
Wet, you can actually see the water on the face.
Yeah. And moist is fairly common.
Did you want to record a
Wet.
secondary for the AH3 and the AH4?
I think we looked at them and they were still in the same size class. AH4, yeah, we called it angular blocky, very coarse, and then angular blocky,
That's the one this side of the shovel.
yeah.
Sub-angular blocky course or just angular?
Either or, they're sort of borderline, but when you break them, they tend to go a little more angular. You see that?
That's in the secondary?
So primary is very coarse, secondary is coarse. And they all know how to do textures, right? Do I have to do one? Help me do one?
Did you all have fun doing texturing yesterday? And
Well, you
you
know
all
what?
know what you're doing, right?
And let's let them do the test.
Yeah, I'm
you
gonna let
guys are
them
gonna
guys
come
do
in
it.
the pits
Yeah,
and do texturing. Except, I don't know about Krista, if you had any texturing experience, but
Well, I took the Costa Soils course, so, like, with an instructor. That's the only time I've had.
Did you get in a test pit and get
Yeah.
dirty? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you should be able to do it. Try it. What the hell?
All right.
you will
Would you
watch.
consider your coarse fragments in your sea horizon cobbles?
Yeah, they're cobbles and there might even be some stones in here, but yeah, most of them are cobbles. So that horizon, definitely you want to take a big sample, and the same with the BM. I would say the BM, looking at the BM right now, we're looking at 50%.
Would you like me to report that?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, 40 to 50.
And in the sea
C
horizon up
is,
there?
they're smaller. We got some big ones here. I would say they're, I would say 40. And that's, I'm guesstimating based on this little hole here, right? So those two horizons, definitely you want to sieve them out and see what the coarse fragments are, because the BM is going to be, from what I'm seeing right now with the coarse fragments, that horizon's gonna limit, you're gonna have to lower the loading rate. Because I think there's too many coarse fragments in that horizon. So, we have a little discussion on limiting layers?
Yeah, but just before you go to limiting layers, so I wanna go back to gravity systems, whether you're doing gross gravity or gravity. Let's say you were to take an excavator or whatever and dig this down a little bit more and realize that maybe you didn't have a water table and you had your 150 centimeters. What's going to make you eliminate gravity in here? Just by the discussion in the last 5 minutes. I would say the coarse fragments and when you were listening to the shovel go in and how that breaks down over there, I'd be very reluctant because you have to go quite deep in order to get your gravity in, right? Because you need 150 centimeters below the, that's the infiltration surface. So does that sort of answer some of the questions that people had about gravity, or maybe they were just casually smart remarks, I don't know, but I wanted to point them out, okay? It's not that easy to get a gravity system in. Much to, contrary to most people's belief in other areas.
Contrary to most homeowners' belief.
Yeah, and homeowners.
Yes.
All right, so
60-year-old system's pooch.
I'm gonna go and do the coarse fragment shaping. You talk about limiting layer.
Okay. Now, Steve was going through, and Garth and I, pay attention, gang. The definitions of limiting layer in SPM 3. It's most confusing. In Alberta, this is what the limiting layer is. What you would do, and what I would do here, I would get my texture, we've got our consistence, I would figure out the loading rate for each horizon. Got that? You figure out the loading rate for each horizon. If you've got more than, you've got 35s to cut off, what's your other cutoff? 60? You just lowering the loading rate at 35, or do you have an actual cutoff like
No, it's
70?
Yeah, I think it's 70 actually.
Okay.
You're not allowed to do it at all. I have to look that up.
Yeah, okay. So,
I never get up that high.
yeah, some sites you will. So if we have, let's just say for argument's sake, I have 3 horizons. And I'm just gonna pull numbers out of my head, they don't make any sense, okay? Let's say I can put 1 gallon per square foot on the top horizon, and I can put half a gallon on my second one, and a full gallon on my third one. Which loading rate are you going to choose? The half gallon. The horizon with the lowest loading rate is the limiting layer. Okay? The SPM 3 is extremely confusing, and at one point it says that the layer just above the restrictive is your limiting layer. May not necessarily be true. So once you've got all your data, then go through your tables and figure out the loading rate for each one of your horizons. And that's what you're going to design to. Because you've got this nice horizon down here, but if we've got too much gravel and we can't even use it, that becomes restrictive. But right now it looks like it may be okay, but we need to deal with the coarse fragments. That making sense? Making sense?
Yep.
No? Yes? I want a coffee?
That too.
Okay. So, when you see this nice black soil here, that tells me that there is a ton of biological activity going on from here to here. Why the heck would I want to put an effluent system in below this when most of my effluent treatment can take place in here? This is the good stuff. That's what you want. So I often question, why are we going down so darn deep in some of these things? Because that's where your treatment takes place. So keep that in mind. This is a beautiful site, actually. I haven't seen AH horizons this deep anywhere before in my life. So every soil pit I've done is different. The other thing you want to really be cautious of is you've got a pit here, they're digging another one over there. Do not make the assumption that they're the same. They are not. The difference between that end of the pit and this end of the pit may be different. We had a site, where were we, in Nanaimo?
Yes.
Yeah, so we had modeling down about this level here. The slope was about like this, but when we got to the end of the pit, the modeling was up to here. All right, so don't just focus right in this little narrow area. Look at your entire face to see if there's some kind of irregularity. Sometimes you will have a boundary, let's say I have my A, and at the bottom of that, the boundary is doing this. It's wavy. You want to go with the minimum depth for that horizon for the A, not the deepest, because if you use the deepest and most of it is shallower for that horizon, then you're going to have an overloading. Is that making sense? So pay attention. Is your boundary straight, or are they doing something? And on the coast in our podzol soils, the ones with the really red horizons, sometimes they will do this. Okay, so you need to work with the shallowest depth when you got horizon boundaries that are wavy or what we call irregular. And you'll find these on the coast, those on the coast for you that are there. Also in these soils in the interior, what you may find is a calcium carbonate layer, which is a white one. They're usually down about here somewhere. I just say those are restrictive because the calcium carbonate is plugging up all the pores. On the coast, look for cemented horizons. Even in gravel deposits, you may find a layer that's absolute concrete.